Yet somehow, this exists.
I can't even look at this with a straight face because this is just so disgusting. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Soldaya. Now, would you believe me if I said people have stooped so low as to start drawing school shooter comics in the art community? Yeah, it's crazy. So in this video, we gonna be reacting to apparently people have started to draw school shooter OCs in the art community. This gonna be a good one. So without any time waste, let's get right into it.
In all my years of making art on the internet, posting art drama videos, and talking about art controversies on my Sub 5 YouTube channel,
I already know this guy's seen a lot of messed up things.
I have seen many different forms of weird and disturbing art, problematic situations, and toxic drawings made to mock another artist or stir up an entire shitstorm of controversy in the art community. But never, ever have I seen something like what I'm about to show you.
This is about to be crazy because if someone in the art community has never seen that's how you know it's gonna be bad.
Take a look at this.
You can lead a whore to water, but you can bet she'll What?
I'm sure for most of you who haven't seen this image before, this looks like a rather normal drawing. A simple, cool, original character made by an artist with an interesting and rather harmless design.
That's very harmless to my eyes, thank you very much.
Right? But when you start to look a little closer, something just doesn't seem right.
The whole thing doesn't seem right. That's nasty.
Apparently, this is a school shooter original character.
I'm not surprised. It looks like a school shooter.
Dad?
Yes, you heard that right. People are going out of their way to make original characters that are apparently school shooters.
What's the point of doing that? Like, do y'all want to be losers? Do y'all want to be in that position? Like, why make an original character of a school shooter out of all things? Go make an original character of a billionaire.
Shocked myself when I stumbled on this thread on Twitter and also TikTok, and I'm like, are we really idolizing school shooters and basing off our character designs off of that?
At this point, I'm not even surprised. We got people who went to jail, and we got fangirls simping over them, being like, he's too fine to be in jail. Like, that's such a crazy thing to say.
What is wrong with the internet?
I do not want 2016 Tumblr to come back, mainly because of the school shooter fan accounts that were so prevalent during that time.
Out of all the things to become a fan about, you choose school shooters.
It's honestly been around for quite a long time, but I did remember in 2016 where there would be like, oh my gosh, I heart insert school shooter's name here, and they would give them flower crowns and Instagram filters calling them my sweet cute boy, he's so misunderstood.
That gotta be the corniest thing I've ever heard.
No, that was so incredibly disturbing and also disrespectful towards the victims of these mass shootings.
I'm saying, because imagine you're a victim in those shootings, right? And you see, instead of everyone condemning this, instead of everyone being mad at the school shooter, they're just simping over him, drawing fan art, sending love letters. I'd be so pissed.
There were people making cutesy fan art of the Sandy Hook shooter. Like, did we completely forget? Like, there were edits of the Parkland shooter and people saying that he was too cute to go to prison. Like
that's that dumbass shit. Because what you mean too cute to go to prison? He took the lives of many people.
Even the Columbine shooters had fan accounts. And they were literal racists and Nazis, and people were literally calling them, oh my god, they were misunderstood, they were bullied. I just randomly
They were misunderstood. They were bullied. Well, they should have bullied them more, because what the hell?
Remember that. And the internet scares me. This is why the internet really scares me.
The internet's a very strange place, I'll tell y'all that much.
Now, if you've somehow avoided problematic art all your life on the internet, first of all, congratulations. That's quite impressive. But for the rest of us who have somehow one way or another stumbled across internet controversies in the art community like this is just a regular Tuesday. Just a little more unhinged and delusional, I guess.
Yeah, the things I be hearing that goes on in the art community would really have you question your sanity.
For context, according to the artist who made this OC, there is inherently nothing wrong in their original character, so therefore no hate speech, negative comments, or derogatory remarks should be sent their way. So it has come to my attention that a few artists—
What the hell?
on the internet are now making original characters who are apparently school shooters and have backstories of being hated, called ugly, and all sorts of other insults, which resulted in them becoming the aforementioned personality. The personalities, designs, and backstories of most of these so-called school.
This gotta be like one of the most cursed images I've seen. There you got a school shooter in the back with My Little Pony dolls. Like what?
Shooter OCs all seem pretty similar across different artists, despite each of these designs and characters being completely made by various different artists.
Cause they're all made by losers.
One might even say they were copying each other characters' lore. The art community on the internet of course found this problematic and started typing out long threads wondering why someone will even want to make a school shooter OC and going
I wonder that as well.
out of their way to call out the artist who posted it. This is genuinely so ugly and nasty. I don't like insulting people's art, but this is an exception. This artist is just genuinely a disgusting person, and not a single bone in my body can pretend that their art is good. I actually despise it so bad.
I wonder how this went. Did he just suddenly wake up one day and be like, I want to draw a school shooter OC? Like, how does that even happen?
I don't know why people even make school shooter OCs. Like, yeah, let's romanticize and glorify murdering kids. That's surely not fucking crazy or anything. This makes me so uncomfortable. What the fuck are we doing?
The type of people who draw this are obviously the type of people who've been bullied all throughout like their school life. Like, you can just tell it was made by some, I don't know, loser, like from the way they're doing this. Because who would glorify school shooters that murder people? That's just weird.
The entire quotes and comment section were filled with people either calling the artist out and wondering why they even had an OC based on such tragic events, or just leaving remarks on how the character was drawn and calling the art style ugly and extremely hideous. And I'm just genuinely sitting down here and wondering, why do you even have a school shooter OC? What even is the purpose of creating this character? Of all the different genres of character designs you could possibly have, you genuinely sat down and thought it was cute to make a school shooter OC?
There's many different types of OCs you can make. You can make an OC that's in an anime. You can make an OC that's a billionaire. So much different things, but no, you choose a school shooter. You weird.
Doesn't even make any sense to me. With all the things going on in the world right now and how this has become such a problem literal kids have to deal with every day, sadly even while they're just trying to go to school, why would you even want to make an original character that is basically uplifting this evil theme and trying to make it look cool? This type of character should not—
I'm saying, like, stop doing this. Stop making because these school shooters in their head, they have the delusion to think they're cool. They're not cool. They're lame as hell. What they did was lame and nothing will ever unlame them. Like, stop glorifying this behavior.
Doesn't even exist at all. I can't find one single reason that somehow makes sense to have something with a theme based around this as an original character, but yet somehow this exists.
I can't even look at this with a straight face because this is just so disgusting.
Imagine you're just casually scrolling on your FYP, quietly minding your business, watching fancy Breaking Bad edits, or looking at fancy art all over your For You page, and all of a sudden you come across a character with a striking description that makes you pause for a second. Not just because it's confusing and the drawing kinda looks weird, but because it automatically triggers a traumatic response after reading the description of the character, especially for people who have sadly had to experience this one way or another. Apparently some artists started
I just don't take this image seriously.
Making these OCs with their entire identity revolving around the idea of them either wanting to be involved in a school shooting or actively participating in it. And to me, whichever way I try—
What the hell?
to look at it, it just sounds exactly as bad as you think it does. Now, for some reason, these characters are drawn and often described as being quiet, misunderstood, isolated individuals who are pushed too far by the people around them, and also mostly drawn as being ugly, fat, and often disgusting and grotesque in a funny sort of way, which apparently is supposed to be the joke we're supposed to laugh at or find funny or
Ain't no one finding this shit funny.
something, I don't know. Their backstory usually builds up to a breaking point point where the character supposedly snaps and this results in a horrific incident. Sometimes these artists argue that they only create these types of characters because they're only trying to explore dark themes based around the effects of bullying, loneliness.
Hell no. They create these characters because they've been bullied in high school or whatever, and they want to insert themselves into a school shooter. It's weird as hell.
And mental health struggles they themselves have experienced personally, so they base their characters' resemblance and trauma on their real life or the lives of people who have been arrested as active shooters, which in all honesty sounds like an interesting way to tackle.
I'm very curious on what the creator looks like, because if he drew an original character to look that hideous, what could the original creator look like? Y'all get what I'm saying?
Real-world societal issues. But I just feel drawing these characters and using this approach to talk about the subject or tackle this topic is kind of inappropriate and disrespectful to the victims of these events.
It's very disrespectful to the victims, because what the hell do you mean people got murdered? Then you got people out there glorifying that behavior by creating OCs.
Affected by this, especially younger people, are having to deal with past trauma and are still figuring themselves out. Passing drawings like these around and even turning
they need to stop showing me this. Like, this image is so disgusting.
Into a trend is just a weird thing to do for the most part. Some other artists started drawing their own versions, making fun of the original tweet, I believe, just to show how ridiculous it is. Some artists made a corny school shooter OC and people were making fun of them, and then another artist posted their school shooter OC and said she was cooler.
You can't even make this shit up.
Hey guys, this is my school shooter OC. His name is Phil. He almost shot up his school because he got bullied for being named Phil, except he never got to because he was just the victim of an FBI entrapment operation to push new gun legalizations, and they arrested him before he left his house.
What the hell did I just read?
What are we even doing? Hey guys, if you want a cool school shooter OC, check out my OC. Someone even tried to make their own school shooter OC different and quote-unquote better by drawing them as a conventionally attractive man, since people were calling out the original drawing for
this ain't conventionally attractive in my eyes.
Being ugly and evil. And although the artist probably meant this as a joke, judging from their responses to other people in the comments, the amount of effort put into their character is rather alarming to say the least. I mean, look at all their details. Impeccable genetics. Enjoys golfing and nothing else. Doesn't have to worry about courting females as all his relationships have been decided for him. Although many desire him. Prom king every year. Glows with a divine light. Acne fears him. Has every friend that matters. Only decided to borrow his father's gun because he was fed up with the increasing amount of pores infiltrating his learning environment.
Wait, what? This is just, you can't make this shit up.
What? What does that even mean? So, poor people infiltrating his learning environment is apparently a problem that can only be solved by taking an automatic rifle and decorating the entire building with bullet holes?
It sounds to me like that guy was just a sociopath.
You need help, my guy. Law enforcement took 2 hours to enter the school, by which time he was already enjoying a cucumber sandwich. He was let off with a scolding from the judge. What is this backstory, man? What am I even reading right now?
I wonder that same thing.
I just can't understand how people can genuinely come up with questionable things like this on the internet. This drawing of how every school shooter OC is drawn also started stacking up views, getting over 1 million views, and
this just, whenever I think about school shooter, this is exactly the image that comes to my head.
Counting, emphasizing how every single one of these OCs were drawn as incels with acne, glasses, and braces, and were apparently always sad closeted gays. Why is their trauma also always getting beat by their dad or groups? Also, why are they always ginger or brunette? I see OCs like these and I start to understand why people chant break the pencil. Bonus points if the OC is perverted, his girlfriend is a popular mean girl, or his boyfriend is emo or punk. The plot takes place in high school through 2006 to 2009 and isn't really about anything in particular. Maybe some romance and angst, but that's about it. I hate the ugly equals evil thing they do so much, especially since with the other factors making them closeted, struggling with SH, usually trauma, they're evidently trying to make the character deep while simultaneously going and feeding into the horn effect. It's so tiring. A lot of other people in the comments were all calling out this trope of creating characters with glasses and for some reason making them ugly and using that as an excuse for violence, while some other people found the character designs intriguing because apparently they were realistic and relatable to
Who the hell is relating to this?
a certain demographic of people, I guess. Many other artists continued making fun of the trend, drawing their own versions of this character trope and calling the trend out for being basically pointless. They never have anything deeper to say about the inner psyches of school shooters either. Like, you could easily make the shit about the logical extreme conclusion of Western hegemonic masculinity producing these misanthropic white supremacist clowns, but that's too much work for you, I guess. What's Western
I don't even know what that means, but hey, continue, I guess.
hegemonic mean? I hate how these physical features, fat, acne, glasses, and braces are always portrayed as meaning the character is evil. Maybe I'm just biased because I hit all the marks for those physical features.
When I see stuff like that, I always assume the character is going to be some sort of school shooter.
But still, why do they always do the ugly equals evil and pretty equals good bullshit? That's
Nah, bro. Someone can look, quote unquote, handsome and be the most evil, corrupt person ever.
a good one. There were so many other comments talking about the artist's characterization of their OC and how they failed to explore the causes and beliefs of people who were either criminals or somehow found themselves in situations where they ended up causing more harm than good, all because of how people treated them, looked at them, and addressed their physical appearance. Some other people also tried to understand why people were even making characters like this, saying it was potentially okay to make a school shooter OC, but then if you did, you would have to handle the topic with respect and care, which is definitely true because
people actually died in these situations, so I don't see why you wouldn't handle the topic with respect and care.
I don't think this is a topic that deserves any less respect. People have sadly passed away from the shooters these artists
Exactly.
are using as reference, and these always happen to be innocent people and even innocent children who had a bright future ahead of them, and just sitting back making an
Ew, like what the hell even is this?
OC that literally lights schools up and not even trying to explore the character or use the character as a tribute and just basically making the character for fun is kinda disturbing. The only way I can see making a character like that work is if they are a school shooter for the sake of the narrative and that their actions are not glorified or made sympathetic. I mean, I feel like it will still be problematic regardless of the narrative, because the idea of creating that kind of character in itself is disturbing. They literally go out.
It depends on the type of story you're making. If you're making like a villain, like let's say a school and the school shooter is the villain, go ahead, make that. But don't make him some sympathetic and try to make people feel bad for him. Hell no.
Out of their way to harm innocent kids. If the story is about the character regretting their actions, taking redemption or forgiveness or any of the sort, then it could potentially work if it's portrayed well. And
But the thing is, these school shooter OCs don't be doing that.
just like you said, none of their actions are glorified. I mean, there's nothing wrong about writing or drawing a problematic type of person. The issue is when those bad actions get romanticized. Exactly this, which seems to be the problem everyone has with the people making this type of original character.
I never understood how anyone could be attracted to that sort of thing. Like, anyone who finds that attractive, you need to like look into your head because there's something obviously wrong.
They're so hard focused on making them as edgy and evil as possible instead of finding ways to speak about the topic without making it disturbing and trauma-inducing for people who have lived through things like this. I think the school shooter OC drama is really funny because can you imagine a better deterrent to school shooting than being depicted as a smelly, greasy, sweaty nerd kissing sloppy style with other edgy, gross nerd boy shooters? Okay, what did I just read? What even makes this entire situation so ridiculous was after people started calling out the artist who made this OC and even commenting about the way the artist drew the character, they immediately took offense, telling everyone they didn't like people talking about their OC and had every right to feel uncomfortable about all the call out posts, which for a lot of people seemed like the artist just didn't understand the criticism people were giving for their character and
They never do.
was instead upset people who were making fun of the art style and calling it ugly because of the face
This is just ew. Who decides to sit down and make something like this?
and all the goo they drew on him. Making a glorified edgelord school shooter OC and expecting people to not be weird or tell off color jokes is the whitest thing ever. I can make a shitty edgelord OC that shoots up schools, but I draw the line at mocking him for his body. This cannot be a real human, bro. This in fact is definitely not a real human.
Like, I'm just trying to put in mind, like, someone really just said that. Like, someone really just said that. That's how you could, some people can be just straight up losers. It's crazy.
Human, bro. I hope that school shooter OC passes quickly because I'm genuinely disgusted at the character. It's a vile creation. Their teeth are rotted and I can almost smell them through the screen. Honestly,
I believe him, bro, because when I first saw that image, I can smell it throughout my entire room. That was nasty.
same. I don't even know why this trend started in the first place, and I have no idea where it even came from. And
Came from losers wanting to sympathize with school shooters, finding them cool, so they decided to, you know what? I'm gonna make a school shooter original character. That's literally how it came to be, bro. People just being stupid.
I definitely don't want to see characters like this on my timeline. There literally is no reason for creating characters like this. Some people started saying the artist was clearly rage baiting
Hell no, that guy wasn't rage baiting, bro. He generally enjoys making that.
people into thinking they really had a school shooter OC and didn't really mean any of this. But my guy, this is the internet. Everyone is trying to be funny and edgy, and the fine line between being funny and being absolutely dead serious keeps getting blurred with each day that passes. Kids might start off
Yo, what the hell am I even looking at right now?
making characters like this as a joke, but then get laughed at on the internet, and it ends up pushing them to doing things they never even thought they were capable of, just because of the kinds of things they have been looking at and using as inspiration to draw their characters. I found this post on Toy House discussing the difference between school shooter OCs and other types of OCs that are considered problematic, and I think this comment answers it perfectly. Personally, I think it's in bad taste. I think the difference between this and just regular murderer OCs is that school shootings are such a specific, sensitive, and very real topic. Some topics are just so sensitive that they should be handled with extreme care, and
Which these people clearly don't do.
aren't really something you should make a story or a character out of, unless you're a victim of that circumstance. To me, there is a difference between having an OC who just kills someone and having an OC who specifically killed several minors in a scenario which is based off of real events that actually happen to people and people spend large parts of their lives being afraid of. I'd frown upon it for the same reasons I'd frown upon someone having a rapist OC
That is crazy.
or a pedophile OC or a terrorist OC or something like that.
Ew, that's just so nasty to think about. And you know what's the craziest part? Those OCs actually exist.
It's just too sensitive. I think it's different if you're writing a story and in that story a school shooting occurs, but even then you have to approach the subject with extreme caution, and I also don't think that in that scenario the focus should be on the shooter. Instead, we should be more interested in humanizing and empathizing with the victims rather than the perpetrator.
That should be like the most common knowledge thing ever, but no, that's not what they do. Instead, they start simping and romanticizing the school shooter themselves.
This comment perfectly sums up everything I feel about this archetype of characters. I believe deeply serious topics like this should not even be used as a form of humor or as a reference for generating ideas which end up being used to make edgy characters, especially when the artists making these characters are still young and impressionable and don't really understand the impact these type of characters have. Stories have always had characters who are violent, tragic, and occasionally have morally complex motives, which is not a new thing. The difference that makes one character understood and appreciated while another is deemed problematic is in how these elements are framed and portrayed. There's a huge gap between portraying something as disturbing, tragic, but yet making it funny and indirectly glorifying it, and then presenting it as something that
What the hell am I even looking at right now? Like, each time I see this image, I can't just help but cringe.
adds depth and mystery to a character while trying to explore the character's mindset, motives, and what drove them to make those decisions, and also how they're consciously trying to redeem themselves and become a better person. I think artists making OCs will benefit more when exploring sensitive topics and complex characters by drawing them and telling the story in an empathetic way to the victims, rather than reshaping it into something
Like, cause no way you draw something like this and expect people to sympathize with the school shooter. Are you dumb?
that feels disrespectful and tone deaf. When the focus shifts away from the seriousness of the topic to how interesting or relatable the character feels, changes the entire meaning of the story, and the character starts becoming a reflection of how a subsection of the internet handles these types of topics by softening them, stylizing
Each time I see this, I can't help but cringe because why is it so nasty? It's just drawn so nasty.
them and making them easier to consume as memes or edgy humor. And honestly, I don't think any of us find that funny or mildly entertaining, but at this point all we can do is just hope for the best. Well, it looks like you made it to the end of this video.
That's crazy. People are really drawing school shooter original characters. And they're not even like empathizing with the victims. They're trying to make it look cool. A school shooter will never be cool. Never. Don't try to make it look cool because that will never happen. But hey, if y'all enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm gonna catch y'all in my next video. Peace.